Once upon a time, in the heart of a bustling city in India, there lived a young man named Arjun. His hands were calloused, his back bent, and his clothes often soaked in sweat because he worked as a daily wage laborer at construction sites. He was the kind of worker people rarely noticed, blending into the background of rising buildings and dusty roads. But behind his weary eyes burned a fire so powerful that destiny itself could not ignore him. Arjun was born in poverty. His father had been a farmer who lost his land due to crushing debt, and his mother had spent her life doing odd jobs to feed him and his younger sister. From childhood, Arjun knew hunger, not just the hunger for food but the hunger for dignity, respect, and the chance to dream bigger than his circumstances. He never had the privilege of school. Instead, he learned to read and write by collecting scraps of old newspapers thrown on the street. Every night, under a flickering streetlight, he would sound out words while his stomach growled with emptiness. Yet, even in those moments, he told himself, "One day, I will not just survive. I will create a life where others like me don't have to suffer." His journey began at the age of 16 when he started carrying bricks at a construction site. The work was brutal. His palms would bleed, his feet would swell, and sometimes he fainted from exhaustion. Still, Arjun never complained. He would observe the engineers, the architects, and the businessmen who came to inspect the sites. He noticed the polished shoes, the confident words, and the way people listened to them with respect. He didn't envy them. Instead, he studied them. He told himself, "If they can do it, so can I. I may not have wealth or education, but I have willpower, and that is stronger than anything." One day, fate presented him with an unexpected opportunity. While working, Arjun overheard two businessmen arguing about why their small factory was losing money. They mentioned waste of raw materials and poor management. Though he was only a laborer, Arjun had been quietly observing how things worked at the site. Gathering courage, he approached them and suggested a small method to reduce waste in the mixing of cement, a trick he had learned through experience. At first, they laughed at him, dismissing his words. But one of them decided to try it out, and to everyone's surprise, it saved them money. That small moment planted a seed. The businessman said, "You're just a laborer, yet you think like an owner. Don't waste this talent." Those words became Arjun's mantra. He saved every rupee he earned, often skipping meals so that his sister could eat. Slowly, he managed to buy a second-hand cart and started a tiny business delivering construction materials at lower prices. It wasn't easy. He was ridiculed, cheated, and even threatened by competitors. But Arjun's honesty and hard work won people's trust. He made it a rule never to exploit laborers, always paying them fairly and treating them with respect. This compassion made workers loyal to him, and soon his small cart business grew into a modest supply company. Yet success was not a straight road. A flood destroyed his warehouse, wiping out years of savings. Arjun stood on the muddy ground, watching everything he built turn to ruins. For a moment, despair almost crushed him. But then he saw his workers, the same men who once carried bricks with him, standing by his side, saying, "Don't give up, Arjun Bhai. We are with you." That night, under the open sky, Arjun realized something profound. Wealth wasn't just money. True wealth was people, trust, and the courage to rise again. With borrowed money and relentless determination, he restarted. This time, he expanded beyond materials into construction contracts. He worked day and night, often sleeping on site with his workers, eating the same simple food they did. His humility touched everyone. Within a few years, his company grew into one of the most trusted in the region. But Arjun's story didn't stop there. Instead of hoarding wealth, he reinvested in people. He built schools for poor children, remembering his own nights under streetlights. He started healthcare centers for laborers, knowing the pain of untreated wounds. He gave scholarships to young dreamers who only needed a chance. What made Arjun extraordinary wasn't just that he became rich, it was how he used his wealth. He believed that true success is measured not by how high you rise but by how many lives you lift along the way. The turning point of his life came when he was invited to a global conference of entrepreneurs. Standing on a grand stage in front of thousands, dressed in a crisp suit, Arjun began his speech not with pride but with tears. He said, "I stand here as a billionaire today, but in my heart, I am still the boy who carried bricks barefoot. I didn't reach here alone. I reached here because of the people who believed in me when I had nothing. And today, my dream is to build a world where no child has to choose between hunger and education." The audience rose to their feet in thunderous applause, not just because of his wealth, but because of his humanity. People saw in him a reflection of their own struggles, their own dreams, and the belief that anything is possible if you refuse to give up. Arjun's story became a movie, inspiring millions across India and beyond. The film showed his hardships, his failures, his resilience, and above all, his kindness. It wasn't just a story about money, it was a story about hope. Viewers wept when they saw him give away his first big earnings to pay for a poor child's surgery. They cheered when he finally bought his mother a home where she could live with dignity. They found courage when he said, "The world may push you down 1,000 times, but if you stand up one more time, you win." Today, Arjun's empire stretches across industries, real estate, education, technology, but he still walks into his offices with folded hands, greeting even the lowest worker with respect. He has built a foundation that feeds thousands of families, educates countless children, and provides jobs to the very people who once carried bricks beside him. The boy who once slept hungry now ensures that no laborer in his company sleeps without food. And that is the real wealth he cherishes. His story teaches us a timeless lesson. Greatness is not born in comfort, it is forged in struggle. Success is not about how much we accumulate for ourselves, but how much we give back to the world. And above all, no dream is too big for a heart that refuses to surrender. So, when you feel life pushing you down, when your dreams seem impossible, remember Arjun, the laborer who became a billionaire. Not because he chased money, but because he believed in kindness, resilience, and the power of never giving up. In the end, his life whispers to us all, you are stronger than your struggles, braver than your fears, and capable of miracles if you dare to keep moving forward. That is not just his story, it can be yours too.